Very colourful cars and some very excitable local drivers getting the chance to ply their trade on the local stage here at Macau, which is a little bit different to normal this year because we have a wet first day. Wet and windy weather yesterday here at Macau. Very windy in the location around Macau overnight. Fortunately, not getting too testing overnight here at Macau, but certainly it's having a knock-on effect on the weather that we've got here for day one. Free practice day here at Macau is wet. David Addison in the commentary box once again. We've just seen GT4 cars and local drivers getting the chance to unleash their skills on the gear circuit here at Macau. Something that we only get the chance to do once a year over the course of this weekend. We're about to see it for the first of two categories for Roadsport over the course of this weekend, David.
Yeah, the Macau Roadsport entry is a vast one, and it's effectively, as you've been saying, split into two divisions because the Macau Roadsport Challenge is a championship that goes through a short season. It goes under the heading of the Macau Touring Car Series, even though it is for Roadsport cars, and that is split itself into two groups. Now, all the races, there are 4 rounds, all the races take place at the Zhuzhou circuit, but what we then have at the end of the championship season is the top 14 from Group A and Group B go into the main race, if you like, which is the Macau SAR Establishment Cup, and 15 from back in the two groups go into this race. So these are the drivers that have fared less well in the championship, but are still quick drivers in their own right. But it does illustrate just how popular the championship has been over the course of the season, that you can have 2 full grids on the gear circuit.
And what an opportunity it is. Opportunity for drivers to do what they do on a world stage. So opportunity for sponsors as well to show off the skills of their design for the liveries of the cars that are incredibly striking, and the preparation of the cars as well, which has been going on all week in the underground car park, and it's incredibly testing conditions for the teams to be working because it's very warm, very muggy, very airless in the car park, which is the home for the course of the build-up to the Macau Grand Prix weekend, and indeed for the 4 days of the event itself. But you can see the colours on the cars are just indicative of the kind of racing that we get. Shiny liveries about 10 years ago, and now we've got these matte coloured finishes, vinyl wraps, and very, very bright and striking colours. It makes a great scene when the cars are all collected together like that.
And the white wheels work as well. Looking, for example, at Young Chert Lun's car there, the Winston Motorsports car. The regulations for this allow 2 types of car, the Toyota GR86 or the Subaru BRZ. And it's a pretty even split between the 2 brands. 30 minutes this session will last for, and although the track is wet, we haven't had rain for about, what, an hour, 45 minutes to an hour?
Yeah.
And it is drying a little bit as the breeze picks up once again. So the session is imminent to get underway. Should be on the hour. And therefore, as the gate opens, the green flag now shown, and out come the cars, headed by Chen Ka-chun with another of the Winston Motorsport Toyotas. And the drivers then venturing out on track for the first time this weekend, and for many of them, the first time they will have taken to the gear circuit in the wet. One terribly standard-looking car there, the bright red entry, that takes everything Alan has said about colour schemes and throws it out of the window, but it draws attention to itself in a kind of less is more kind of way.
I saw it arriving yesterday. It was as close as you could get to a pallet delivery. That it was already yesterday. I wondered if we might see it with some livery on it today, but evidently not. Looks like a brand new car, but the reason I thought maybe we'd see it wrapped in some kind of livery, we were seeing them doing it yesterday. So they were starting with a blank canvas, a white car or whatever, and one of the cars in particular, which is half pale pink and half sort of seafoam green, and it has its own little kiosk outside the Grand Prix selling livery. Very, very striking colours, beautiful. We saw them doing it, so all wrapped in one day. Just saw the car, there it is, just coming around this row. There's two of them, and yeah, so they have their pink and seafoam reversed on the two cars that they've got. One side is pink, one side is green, and reversed on the other car. Just brilliant to watch them sitting down there in really hot conditions with their little heat guns and getting the livery absolutely perfect. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Always used to be a staple of sports car racing that quite often a team would rock up without a confirmed driver lineup and do deals on the sort of Thursday, early Friday, and the more drivers that they got, and as the deals were done, so little bits of extra sponsorship would come. So it used to be a sort of running joke at Silverstone that you'd have the boring white Porsche that by race day was a totally different car, but suddenly it got lots more stickers on it based on whoever had been signed to come and drive it. However, no shortage of colour schemes, that is for sure, and although these cars are run by teams, it's a proper amateur category, and therefore it's funded by the drivers, and so they can be a bit creative with the colour schemes if they desire. They're not beholden to a sponsor. And for these drivers, this session is about keeping out of trouble, doing a bit of learning, and going towards tomorrow's qualifying session in confident mood.
And what we are seeing is much less spray now.
Yeah.
It's really noticeable, really, from the very first cars that went out this morning, which were the single-seaters that will be competing for the Macau Grand Prix. The balls of spray, we were waiting maybe 4 or 5 seconds until you could see the car that was going to emerge coming towards the camera. So we are much, much drier now. Not quite believe that, looking down at the amount of puddles that there are around the circuit, but it's much drier than it was first thing this morning.
The other nice thing about these cars is they're narrow compared to some of the rather bigger beasts of GT racing or even a touring car, which have got flared wheel arches. So as we saw last year, these can overtake, these can race, and they can pull moves at unusual parts of the circuit. You know, it's not the obvious places. They can do it elsewhere because they're relatively small cars. So the racing from the Roadsports last year was, and I'm sure this year will be, really competitive. And as I say, the drivers in this are the competitors that were outside the Magic 14. So the people to look for are Lei Kit-Meng, who we've seen regularly at Macau. He was 16th in Group A, okay, and he will drive number 7. And the other one in number 20 is Michael Wong, who was 15th in Group B. So they're your best placed in this entry out of the two groups. They're the two drivers to watch for, I would offer you. But then throw in as well, in number 16, Rui Valente, who has been another regular around here, and the redoubtable Geronimo Ballaraco, who was 18th in his group. So a few names to focus on once the times start to come.
And names that have been starring here at Macau in these races for many, many years. So you can imagine that the racing year is all sort of focused towards this great finale for the year. And you can see it when they finish on the podium, when they stop in Parc Ferme, which I think this year is going to be under this sort of huge banner, isn't it? We've got a new structure over on the other side, which would put it all undercover. And maybe they were expecting changeable weather over the course of this weekend. But you can see the joy on their faces when they get out of the cars. It's just, it is wonderful to see.
I mean, we talk about these as local races, and they are, but to the local drivers, their race is no less important than the Grand Prix itself, because to win on a circuit in which very, very few people get the opportunity to race, you know, the single-seater drivers, some come back to do it year after year, but there's a limited shelf life, because the better you're doing in single-seater racing, the fewer opportunities there are to come and do it. Touring cars and GT is a little bit different, but if you're not then racing in a local category, there are lots of people around the world that are never going to race it.
In relatively recent years, we've seen drivers coming back irrelevant of what they're doing in their career.
Yeah.
Antonio Felix da Costa is someone that really does come to mind. He was excelling in DTM, he was winning races in DTM, got the opportunity to come back and compete once again in the Grand Prix and win, and did. And a great opportunity to do it. Alexander Sims came back year after year in single-seaters, whatever he was doing, competing at Le Mans 24 hours, still wanted to come back and compete in this.
Not even a berth got in the way, was it, of Alexander Sims?
That year, I will never forget that conversation I had with him in the garage. I sat down, I was having a chat to him, got a problem, didn't quite identify the number of that car, but it gets going again, which is good news. And he said, no, yeah, I'm going to become a dad again this weekend. So, why are you here?
Yeah.
Well, it's Macau.
Yeah. So, that answers that.
And he did on the Saturday night. The berth was on the Saturday night. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, as
I think she was pleased to see the back of him, to be honest.
Probably.
Yeah.
Might be right. Started you mean to go on. Going to be away racing. So
yeah.
Clock ticks on down, and we're going to start to get flying laps off and up now as the replay of Wu Wei Hung's car goes through, and it was number 80 that just avoided major damage. Quan Car Kit behind in the Mogan Team Track Day King Toyota.
Plenty of cars entered from that team.
Yeah. He was 19th in his group, so that effectively put him, if you like, 5th of the Group B drivers that didn't make it through into the Establishment Cup race.
You mentioned Lei Kit Meng. That is the number 7 car. The RPM Racing Team entered Subaru of Lei Kit Meng.
Goes fastest.
Top of the times. Purple in all bar one sector. A 3:15.1. So a 3:15.1 for car number 7. Lei Kit Meng has had plenty of success around the gear circuit.
Chan Chi-ha goes second, and then up to third now is So Yang Hong, Macanese driver. There's a split of drivers from Hong Kong and Macau, with a couple of Chinese drivers in the entry, one being Xiao Meng, and the other is Hui Hang.
Lei Kit Meng had gone purple in sectors 2, 3, 4 and 5 on the previous lap. He's now got the full set. He's gone purple in the first sector on this this lap. So number 7 on another quick lap. Best lap of the session so far.
And Lei Kit Meng still the man to beat. Now, Geronimo Badaracco, that again knows his way around here. He's dropped to 10th as others get a bit of a wriggle on, but should be able to fight back as this session goes on. Drivers then threading their way between the barriers. That is Chan Chak-yin, Hong Kong driver. He was quite a long way down in his group in the championship, 25th, as number 7 of Lei Kit Meng then gets a little bit stuck in the traffic. Remember, he was 16th in Group A, which means he's one of the better drivers within this second half of the entry. 14 being the cut-off. So the closer you are to being 14th in your group, then that puts you ahead of many in terms of points out of this. So you expect him to go well. And the other one we're looking for is number 20 of Michael Wong, who at the moment is only 16, so there's more to come from Michael Wong.
Macau leads Hong Kong in the top 2 drivers at the moment, because the second quickest car is Li Meng Yip in a Toyota from Hong Kong, car 26, with a time of 3:26.87 on that last lap, second quickest, and the top time from the Macau driver of Lei Kit Meng in the Subaru BRZ, top of the times with a 3:15.1. On course for another quick lap for Lei Kit Meng, completed the top 3 sectors 1, 2 and 3, and now 4. And we've gone purple in 2, 3 and 4. So just the final sector to complete for Lei Kit Meng. 3:15.1 is the target time for Lei Kit Meng.
And that green car that you're looking at the back of, which is about to get caught in traffic, is Li Mingyip, who was 15th in Group A in the championship, so finished one place ahead of Lei Kit Meng. So you've got the top two drivers both out of the same group, but this lap for Li Mingyip is going to be ruined by the traffic. And there you can see that rather standard car in terms of the colour scheme of Vicky Law, just up the road. Number 2 going through is Mochi Fai, and Lei Kit Meng faster again, 3 minutes 12.247. Now we've got a number of cars being investigated for crossing the pit exit yellow line. One of them being 84 of Chan Chat Yin, another being number 16 of Rui Valente, and the other is Feng Hoi Ting from the Monkey Racing Squad.
So 3 cars being investigated for the same purpose. And once again, Lei Kit Meng gets quicker and quicker in the first sector, goes purple once again. So watching Lei Kit Meng in this very, very brightly coloured Subaru, heads up San Francisco Hill.
And he's got the rub of the green in terms of nobody around him.
Absolutely clear track.
Yeah.
So absolutely, you can pick your a perfect line, can't you, as you twist your way through this section, being very, very careful. And I reckon they've got the best track conditions of any for the day so far.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still in places quite damp, but quite damp rather than wet. It's heading to that in-between stage now.
Ambient temperature might be to thank for this as well, because we are 12 minutes past 1 local time, warmest part of the day now here at Macau. It's still the temperature all day. It was warm rain this morning. It wasn't cold rain. It was warm. The ambient temperature just climbs and climbs, and although it's wet, it's still very, very warm and very humid. So that's helping to get the track to maybe be in the best condition of the day so far. This is Lei Kit Meng, topping the times at the moment, and he's gone purple sector 1, purple sector 2, purple sector 3, 2 more sectors to go. He's already on top of the times. Best lap has been a 3:12.2, and Lei Kit Meng continues on his way. This is looking like it might be a very, very good lap.
We saw it last year, we're seeing it again, but these are pretty much standard cars. Yes, of course, they've got the roll cage, and there are 1 or 2 adjustments you can make, but these are the closest thing to a road-going car that you're going to find here, and evidence of that comes when they get to a very hard braking zone, because the hazard lights come on, because the car thinks it's being, there you go, flash of the lights, the car thinks with the stamp on the brake it's doing an emergency stop. It isn't, but it tricks the brain of the car. So you'll see it every time the driver really stands on the brakes, and it's the late braking, it's the suddenness of when the braking is done, that there, on cam the hazard light, and big dab of the brakes.
And this could be a supreme lap, could be the first lap of the day where we've gone purple in every sector. He's going to come up towards the line now, just in front of our commentary box. Is it going to go purple? No. So close.
Missed out in the last sector.
So close.
Still went faster on a 3 minute 6.426, but he lost out in the final sector. So after all that effort,
I'll save that for later.
He let you down, Alan, didn't he?
It did a bit.
Lei Kit Meng, what happened in that last sector? What went wrong?
Lei Kit Meng, what went wrong?
Yeah. So another one to watch. 62. Wong Kar Hong goes through. That's up to second fastest now, Wong Kar Hong. And it's been an up and down kind of a lap this. 2 bad sectors, 2 good. And the net result is the lap is slower at 3:15.
So 3:06.4 is the quickest time for Lei Kit Meng, car number 7. Very, very good lap that. And although the final sector wasn't a purple, wasn't even a green, a personal best, so too on this lap as well. So not a personal best on this first sector for Lei Kit Meng, but the gap is immense, isn't it? Yep. The gap over the second quickest car, the 82 car of Wong Kar Hong, again in a Subaru. Mighty Lei Kit Meng, very, very impressive. 3:06.426, 8.5 seconds the advantage.
So much of that is track knowledge, isn't it? Because he's done laps around here for season after season. Am I right in saying that he used to race in Formula 3 many years ago?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But we can check.
Plays tricks.
We shall check.
Yeah.
You may well be right.
But he is one of the experienced drivers from memory that we've seen go well here in the past.
And this is going to be a lap for Lei Kit Meng that doesn't try and set any records. That's the car we were talking about earlier on in this very striking livery. You see colour schemes that are used on cars over here in this part of the world that we don't see in Europe or the UK in racing. You know, we're sort of the colour palette seems to be that much wider over here, and it really works. That car is so lovely to look at in the flesh. Absolutely beautiful. So Lei Kit Meng, it is that tops the times. Yes.
Ex-British Formula 3 Championship racer, I was right. Yeah.
Very good.
So, yes. And the team that runs the car, his team, RPM Racing. So, making sure that the boss is happy, and he's the fastest at the minute by 8.5 seconds. So he is straight away on the money. Wang Ka-hong second, Li Mingyet now third, Mo Chi-Fai is fourth, and Geronimo Balaraco is fifth, with sixth fastest being Gerald Lau in the Team Master Champ Toyota. Busy circuit there, the cars drop downhill, and 13 minutes of this session remain.
Last year was the 70th anniversary of the Macau Grand Prix, and the 70th anniversary challenge was the category of racing that Lei Kit Meng competed in and triumphed in last year here at Macau. Looks as if that's the intention this year as well, because this is mighty, I think it's fair to say. And although that last lap was a little bit more of a consolidated lap, and just getting ready for another quick one, because first sector has gone purple once again for Lei Kit Meng in the number 7 Subaru BRZ.
Still a bit of a surprise he's in this race rather than in the one for the people that did better in the championship, but certainly this is one that Lei Kit Meng is going to be hard to stop, I think.
Are we going to go purple in every sector this time, Lei Kit Meng? Because in the first two sectors we've gone quickest overall. On sector 3 now, the advantage has been brought down by the factor of a couple of seconds on that lap by Wang Ka-hong. 6.5 seconds the advantage for Lei Kit Meng over Wang Ka-hong in second place. And we are about to see the third sector. It comes through purple. Let's go for this. We're going to see 5 purple sectors for Lei Kit Meng. It's done sector 1, sector 2, sector 3. Can't see anyone else coming close, can you?
No, I mean, the margin has come down to 6.5 seconds now over Wang Ka-hong, but even that is a massive, massive margin. And with the track knowledge and a well-sorted car, Lei Kit Meng is looking mighty. He's up to the Malco hairpin now. He's getting towards the end of sector 4. Really, really deep approach to the corner. Easy to get these cars round because they're so narrow relative to other cars that we've got here.
Lovely tight line coming out of the corner as well, well away from the barriers. No, we're not going to get 5 purples, are we? Because that was a little bit slower. Not even a personal best for Lei Kit Meng. However, this could all thread together to put in a further improvement on the overall best lap time. And dare we say it, we're coming up towards the final third of this free practice session. Potentially this could be the first session of the day where we haven't got a stoppage.
Yes, could be. Perversely the one for the True-Ams as well. So Lei Kit Meng goes now over the timing line, and that was quicker. 3 minutes 3.522. So he dropped in sector 4, but then recovered in sector 5. So again, it's 4/5 of the lap purple.
which now makes the advantage 9.4 seconds over the second quickest car. Just a small 9.4 seconds to think about.
But then it's 3/10 between second and third. One car on to Aaron Kwong.
The race for everyone else is going to be great.
Yeah, indeed.
But Lei Kit Meng is in a not only a class of his own, but a field of his own. Just supreme.
We've got one car that has sort of expired coming into the pit lane. Wu Wei Hung's car needs a push from the mechanics to get it down the pit lane. So it's in strife. And in the times, he was quite a long way down anyway, I think. Outside the top 25.
Geronimo Bararaco, another regular here at Macau in the Son Beng Racing Team. Toyota is up there in third position. Car number 28. One of those Seafoam and Pale Pink liveried cars that we're looking at now. This one being the 66 car of So Yang Hong in the 66 Subaru. Currently down there in 8th place. Lei Kit Meng with a 3:03.5 and backing off on this lap a little bit. So it's 3 Macau drivers are the top 3. Lei Kit Meng, Wong Kar Hong and Geronimo Bararaco, the top 3. Wong Kar Hong has come into pit lane.
He has, almost as though he's running out of ideas as to what he can do about Lei Kit Meng, but one of the more experienced drivers around here, doing just a mighty, mighty job. But Lei Kit Meng on this lap is on a slow lap because he's done slower sectors 1, 2 and 3. So he will possibly go again. What have we got? 8 minutes remaining. And the road's still starting to dry more and more.
I don't like to say this too early, but it's been a really well-behaved session.
It has, hasn't it? Yeah.
Really good.
And every car you find has yet another sort of fascinating livery on it and really creative colour schemes. 28 we've been looking at, which is Geronimo Bararaco. Now, in the times, he's third. And this is quite a good lap by Bararaco because he's got 3 greens. It might not be 5 purples, but he might do 5 greens for you and go quicker in every sector. He needs to find 0.2 of a second to go ahead of Wong Kar Hong to be second fastest in this session. Goes really deep into the Macau hairpin there.
Have you ever seen a car with those colours used as a livery? I never have.
What, the turquoise and pink?
It's a green, it's a pale green.
Is it?
It's seafoam green.
Okay.
And they are 2 colours. I have a guitar in both of those colours. They are 2 colours that I really love. And they go together so beautifully.
But no, you're right. It's partly the colours that are used, and it's partly the creativity and the characters. The liveries out here in the Far East are so different from anything you see in European racing.
It is.
Always used to be a staple, for example, at Lamborghini World Finals when the cars from the Asian Championship would come and they stood out against the European and the American colours and cars just off the creativity of the livery.
It was a great lap as well by Geronimo Bararaco. Goes second with an overall best in the 5th sector. So Geronimo Bararaco moves up to second quickest in the 28 car.
And brings down the gap from 9 seconds to 6, so he's a bit nearer to Lei Kit Meng as well.
5 minutes and 40 seconds remain on the clock. Lei Kit Meng is quickest. Still on circuit as well.
Yeah. But not improving. It's a second slow lap. Can't believe he's letting the tyres have a breather, but might be that.
Possibly letting everything have a bit of a breather with the final 5 minutes of this session in prospect, and they are over 3 minutes around a lap around this over 6 kilometre circuit here at Macau. I made it over 6 miles this morning, didn't I? I was tired first thing this morning. I do apologise.
Yes, you made it a very long lap for the drivers, yes. Yes, it's nearly an endurance race. Geronimo Bararaco still pressing on. 2 more greens, so he's again, with a car now that he feels is working for him, getting closer to this man, Lei Kit Meng, who is the fastest still. Behind is that rather standard livery of Vicky Law's car. She's 25th in the time. She's the slowest behind Kwok Kai Wing. But Lei Kit Meng, another slow lap, staying out there, but not looking anywhere near as quick as he was early on. Lei Kit Meng, remember, in a Subaru. Second fastest now has gone Lee Ming Yip Toyota. So Lee Ming Yip, who was 15th in Group A in the championship, in other words, of these drivers, the best placed in that group in the championship.
Which means the top two drivers are now Macau and Hong Kong, with Lei Kit Meng from Macau and Lee Ming Yip from Hong Kong. And the gap has come down to 5.5 seconds, the advantage that Lei Kit Meng has over Lee Ming Yip. What is Geronimo Badaracco doing? Not a bad lap this, piecing together 3 personal best sectors over the first 3 places. You're looking at Lei Kit Meng coming into pit lane.
And that is Lee Ming Yip, who is the man doing the chasing now. He's got the margin down to 5.4 seconds, having got ahead of Badaracco. You're right about Lei Kit Meng going for the pit lane, and that might be where he ends, because with 3 minutes on the clock, I don't think there's at any point going out, because he won't get a lap time in.
I think so, and could be very, very happy with the job done over the course of the last 27 minutes around the gear circuit here at Macau. Really good work, that. Best lap of 3:03.5. And Lei Kit Meng with a time that is not going to be touched by anybody on circuit. I think it's fair to say Geronimo Badaracco is doing a very good job of trying to bring it down. He's brought the gap down to 5.2 seconds, but that's almost like a different championship, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So Badaracco, as you say, up to seconds, and Badaracco and Lee and Aaron Kwong are all going to be in for a good battle, I think. But how they stop Lei Kit Meng, if he makes a good start on the evidence of this, he's going to be very, very tough to beat. However, if it's a dry road, that might give the drivers that bit more confidence. He has got the confidence to push on in the damp and the greasy nature of the circuit. A little bit deep there, down towards Lisboa goes 1. Doesn't get in the way of Badaracco too much. He's able to nip up the inside and assume track position once more. 2 minutes on the clock.
On what is now a clearly wetter part of the circuit, when you look offline, just down on that run down towards San Francisco Hill, you can see there are parts of the circuit that are looking really quite dry now.
Indeed so, and the sister car to Badaracco of So Young Hong just coming into the pit lane. So quite a few drivers towards the end of this half-an-hour practice period have decided to call it quits. And actually, you're right in saying this is going to be the first session of the day without a stoppage. It's the first time you've actually been able to see what free practice is all about. People just being out there, getting the mileage in, and the order fluctuating as people develop. And we're not seeing pit stops for demon tweaks, really. Relatively few have pitted because they all want the track time.
And these drivers know what a gift it is as a driver to be on the gear circuit. So let's not get it wrong. Let's make the most of this. We've got half an hour on the circuit, and they have absolutely made the most of what is a drying circuit. We weren't sure that we were going to get a drying circuit. No. So for the rest of today, if things stay like this, for the Macau gear race, for the TCR cars, for the Macau GT Cup race, the GT3 cars, and for the FIA FR World Cup cars, they are going to be experiencing very different conditions on circuit.
Yeah, I mean, it is still very, very grey ahead, overhead, but yeah, for the moment at least, no more rain is falling, and it's still quite breezy, which helps to dry the circuit. In the more exposed areas, of course, it's not the same all the way around because of the nature of the circuit here, where you've got lots of buildings, the wind not having as much effect. So the flag imminent, because we're into the last 20 seconds of the session as of now, and Lei Kit Meng on on the top time, but sitting in the pit lane watching all this, already out of his car, in fact. Work done. One or two other drivers have bailed early, including Xiao Meng, who was well up early on but has faded a bit. And Geronimo Badaracco here is going to be heading for the checkered flag, which is now out. And Vicky Law is the first driver to take it. Geronimo Balaraco then coming now towards the checkered flag. And she's being waved with gusto. Balaraco goes by and doesn't improve on that lap, but an improvement did come from Chan Chak Yin to go 4th in number 84. So Chan Chak Yin, who was a long way down in his group in the championship, 25th, doing a pretty good job there late in the session to get up near the pointy end.
So our first session is complete without interruption today on day 1 of the Macau Grand Prix, the 71st Macau Grand Prix here around the gear circuit, and the first session we've had on circuit to not have any interruption for recovery of a car was the locals, the Macau Roadsport Challenge. 10 out of 10, well done. Lake It Meng with the top time, some 5 seconds quicker than anyone else, and I would say a jolly good job done by team and driver to prepare that car, because that out of the box has been mighty impressive, David.
Yeah, I mean, the margin was being narrowed towards the end, but it's still a huge margin, and it's going to take a lot of work to bring that down. But 5 seconds, we'll wait and see what happens when we get to the next session, because they have practice, qualifying and race 3 times they're out on track. So the next time you'll see them will be tomorrow. Track conditions might be different, might be a different order as well, but drivers, having had the time on the circuit today, will be that bit more confident maybe tomorrow to push that little bit harder. So they'll head to the pit lane, and the other half of the mighty Roadsport entry for the Macau SAR Establishment Cup, we'll see those cars, those drivers out at the end of the day.
Yep, 4:25 local time. We'll see those cars out the final session of the day before the streets of Macau become the streets of Macau once again, and not the gear circuit for the Macau Grand Prix. 6 o'clock the circuit gets opened up to regular traffic, and the process is done with the most precise workings around the circuit. 6 o'clock, that is when the roads become roads once again. It's really impressive to see here at Macau, and that will be the first time that we have seen the Macau SAR Establishment Cup free practice at the end of today, because for the next 3 sessions they are all repeat sessions from what we've seen so far today. Coming up next, we've got the TCR World Tour events of Macau, second free practice. GT Cup cars, GT3 cars are next, and then qualifying. So our first competitive session of the day, local time at 3:25. But for now, that's it for the Macau Roadsport Challenge. Their free practice, unblemished their session, and we've got a few investigations that will happen for various things that may have happened during that session. But the checkered flag brought down for half an hour, successful for the Macau Roadsport Challenge.
And impressive stuff, as we've been saying, that they got through without drama, without interruption, and using the track time sensibly. So the last few cars have made it to the pit lane, and oh no, still some more to come as you look down the pit straight, and the circuit takes a breather for a few moments before touring cars come back on to the streets of Macau, with Lake It Meng then being the fastest from Geronimo Balaraco, and third being Li Ming Yip. Rui Valente up to 4th in the end, ahead of Michael Wong, and then Chan Chak Yin. Gerald Lau was 7th, Mochi Fai 8th, Aaron Kwok dropped to 9th, and another experienced driver, Chelio Alves Diaz, in 10th in the times. 11th was Wang Ka Hong, ahead of Cho Ken Kwan. So Yen Hong was next, ahead of Yung Chut Lun, and then Chan Chi Ha 16th, Tang Yu Ching. It was Xiao Meng 17th, ahead of Kwan Ka Kit, and then Hu Hang 19th, the top 20 being rounded out by Feng Hoi Ting. Wu Wei Hung was next from Lam Chan Chung and Chen Ka Chun, with Kwok Kai Wing just ahead of Vicky Law, who was 25th in the times.